I'm Hailey.
I'm Sean.
And welcome to Hailey Hates Everything.
I pick a surprise topic.
And I get high and opinionated so we can discuss it together.
So grab a snack and hang out with us for
Hailey Hates Everything. Hi, this is Hailey Hates Everything, your number one source for animosity and amusement. And we're back with our public restroom wrap-up mini episode. This is episode 4 already, which is pretty cool. I, of course, am your talented friend, Hailey. And I'm singing my praises today. That's very different from last week. Depression was very bad. So let's just go with this right now. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling snappy. And I am, of course, joined by Sean.
That's me.
How you doing today?
Yeah, doing pretty good. It's getting hot out here.
It is hot. It's going to be real hot this weekend. Like 107, y'all.
Yeah,
that is dumb.
Kind of crazy for Washington State, at least on our western side.
I hate heat. I hate it. One day we might talk about it, but right now I'm just going to let you know, if we were recording this next weekend, I would be freaking cranky because I cannot handle the heat. Not at all. Welcome. We're so happy to have you back, and I'm really excited for this episode because you guys really came through for us, and we have some really fun stories to share, all bathroom related. And Sean hasn't read these, and he doesn't know what's going to happen, so I get to surprise him on this episode, which is pretty cool for me. So I'm excited to read your stories. We have a story about a public restroom in Australia.
Ooh, public restrooms down under.
Indeed, yes. And we also have a voicemail to share, which I'm very excited about.
Cool.
So awesome. So I really appreciate you guys for sending in your stories. Please continue to do that. It is so awesome, and I just really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks.
The stories will be up in a few minutes, but first I do want to mention that we were very triggered by our own podcast, and some other thoughts and stories came up for us, and we thought we would share those at the top of this episode before we get into all the fun listener stories, which I'm so excited about.
When we talked about the public restrooms and stuff, and going on about porta potties, I happen to remember a story when we were down visiting your sister Chrissy, and one of her neighbors were over, and they told us about a time when they used a porta potty and apparently got bit by a black widow and didn't really realize it. And I guess supposedly they started thinking they were a pirate, and
what?
Just sounded really bizarre. So I didn't even know, I don't know, thinking you were something else was part of what could happen if a black widow bit you, but yeah, apparently. So it's crazy. I know when we were camping, they always warned us to check the outhouses and stuff for brown recluses, because we have those up here. Yeah, they told us to check.
I mean, what are you gonna do?
Well, I mean, you can kind of shine a flashlight, look around there, or whatever, and you could always bring a stick and kind of
fuck with the spider and just make him angrier so he does bite you.
I guess, I don't know.
Oh my gosh. That, nah. And who wants to be crawling around an outhouse looking for spiders so they don't get bit when they do their business? I don't be crawling around an outhouse. That's awful. How are you poking around an outhouse?
It's just checking where you sit and stuff to make sure.
No, you need to check that whole thing. Because look, there's not just a spider where you sit. They could fall down. They could crawl up. They could just appear. I mean, you gotta... if you're checking for spiders, you gotta check for spiders. Don't be half-assed checking
when they beam in just out of nowhere.
Yeah, no, they will just appear. It's not okay. It is not okay.
Just wink into existence from another dimension.
Yeah, I've never met a spider that I trust. It's just not a... Charlotte from Charlotte's Web, that's the only nice spider, and she died. So, there's no more. Charlotte was the only good one as far as I know. The other thing that came up is just the idea that as as my husband, one of Sean's jobs is to scout toilets for me because
Indeed.
obviously I don't like public restrooms in the first place. We've already discussed that. And I don't want to just roll up into a random restroom. So usually he'll go check and see what level of cleanliness it is. And usually he'll take a picture so he can show me, and I can then make a choice whether I will give in to my bladder or hold it longer, depending on where we are, what's going on. We had a few of those stories to share.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Yeah. Where should we start? I guess there's Iceland coming down from the volcano.
Oh, okay. So I told this story on Instagram.
Okay.
But I could tell the story here as well. It's more animated. I think it's more entertaining when I tell it versus people just reading it. But, sorry to just go over it again if you read the Instagram. So we found ourselves at the top of a volcano in Iceland. And I say found ourselves there because we thought we were going around the volcano, but we made a turn down a very rocky road with giant rocks. It got rockier. It started going uphill, and we're like, oh, we're going up the volcano. Okay.
Tangent alert. Tangent alert.
We were in a car that wasn't made for rocky roads. And we're talking big rocks, too. These weren't small rocks.
I forget. It might have been like an all-wheel drive, some sort of Suzuki type thing. I can't remember exactly. But it was more like a station wagon type one. So it was a little bit higher, and it was all-wheel drive, but definitely didn't have the clearance to be just going through these rocky roads.
Yeah. And so at some point on that road, I figured I had to pee very badly. And this was a very bumpy road. So it got worse and worse as time went on. And I had to pull every piece of strength that I have just to keep things tighten and hold it all in.
I would say that the first half, I think, on our way up, that road was worse than the road that went down.
We went definitely.
Down. Because I think, there's, at the peak or whatever, there's kind of a place where people ski and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that road was definitely more traveled and more maintained.
Yeah, because the road we turned onto, it was in the back of some village. So I don't think it's a well-used road, It was super bumpy and everything. And it was later in the day, and we were there around this time, exactly this time, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And so there's no darkness. It's light the whole day, and it really throws you off, but it's helpful for us because I usually need more sleep, and we get a later start than a lot of people who are vacationing or doing something. And so we had more light. That was great, but it was later in the day, so most places were closed and stuff. There's not a lot there weren't a lot of places to stop in this part of Iceland. Everything was really far apart in these little towns, little villages. Things were closed by 4 or 5-ish. So it was already, there was nowhere for me to go, is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, we went down up this back road, and then, it started getting colder because there is an actual glacier sitting on top of this volcano. And so the snow appeared, the ice, it was getting chillier. It was so bumpy, the road. I was in pain. And so we get to the top, and there's a great place to take a photo. And I posted this photo on Instagram. I had to pee so bad, and it was so cold and windy outside, which just makes it worse. And it was at that point where any kind of movement, like walking, any kind of friction is just so painful, and you just have to try harder to keep everything in place. So I didn't want to walk around and do stuff, even though the view was fantastic. So Sean got out and set up the tripod and stuff so we could take a picture at the top of this volcano with the view behind us. And I was like, you go get it all set up. Call me out when you need me. We'll take the picture. I'll get back in the car. So that's exactly what we did. He got it all set up. He's like, come on. I walked weird all over to him. We took the photo, and I was like, I gotta get back in the car. And so I got back in, warmed up, but of course still had to pee. Now we're talking, there's nothing. It's just kind of the mountainside. There's no big rocks. There's a freaking glacier. There's snow. There's no place to pee behind. If I had to, I would have had to resort to that, but there was nothing there. And steadily we were seeing pickup trucks of people coming up the volcano to go skiing or whatever they were doing.
It was on the solstice, and it seemed like a lot of people were coming up for some sort of like midnight solstice ski thing or something, because I think we got to the top of the volcano, like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night or something like that?
Yeah, I think it was close to like 9. Because we hiked that canyon that was like 11.
Yeah.
So it was close to 9 and people were heading up, but it was just steadily staggered out just enough where I was like, if I even attempt to pee on the side of the road, someone's going to drive by and see me, and I'm not okay with that. And because it was cold, because this is Iceland, I was wearing compression leggings under my hiking pants, and y'all, there's no way. There is no way that I could have peed behind a rock and not soiled myself somehow. And that would have been terrible.
It would have been some sort of teamwork thing where I had to like hold your hands and...
Yeah, and I can't pee when other people are around. So that still wouldn't have worked. I mean, I did have to go bad enough that maybe it would have happened, but just the idea of you like standing there, I wouldn't have been able to go. Don't look at me, don't listen, that makes it harder. I can't. I'm shy. I'm a shy peer. So this is way more information than the people wanted about me. So I get back in the car. We're headed down the volcano. Still a bumpy road. Not as bad as the other one. And then we start seeing bigger rocks. And I was like, I was just thinking, every big rock, I'm like, well, is that one going to work? Is that one going to work? But they were all situated just enough that I think any place that I would have been able to like pee behind, someone would have seen me as they came up the volcano.
It was all real curvy switchback types of roads. And
yeah. So there was never a good place. We continue on. We get down to the bottom of the volcano. We start driving around it because there are various beaches. There were the black sand beaches back there, which were really cool. And so we're looking for some kind of restroom area. And let me tell you, you thought the top of the volcano was cold. Behind the volcano was basically like an icy windstorm. Like the wind was so crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty nuts.
It would like slam the car door. That's how major the wind was. It was strong. These are strong winds. And they are icy. They are like little icicles stabbing you in the skin. I was like, oh my God, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what we're going to do. We've actually found a little park area. It had like a little parking lot, and there was, would you call it a pier? There was just some kind of like overview of the black sand beach and a place where you could
like
look
a
down.
boardwalk type of thing that went out there.
Yeah, still hella cold. Oh my God, so cold. But they had restrooms. So I sent Sean to go check the restrooms to see how dirty they were, because it was like, I don't have a choice. I'm going to have to use one. But what do I need to take with me? How many wipes do I need to take to wipe down the toilet seat? What are the conditions? Because I have really bad anxiety. Along with the depression, I'm a soup of trauma and issues, and I have really bad anxiety. So knowing what's coming is helpful. So when he goes, scouts it, takes a photo, brings it back to me, then I know what to expect. I have an idea of what's happening. It's better for my anxiety that way. So that's what happened. He went and scouted. It was okay. It wasn't too bad. It could have been worse.
Yeah.
And I had to go. So that's exactly what happened. And there wasn't a lot of people there because, again, it was like 9:30 at night or something by then, maybe even 10 o'clock. And there weren't a lot of people out. But I tell you what, it was cold. So then after I used the bathroom, we went and looked down at the black sand beach, and we could only be out there. After 5 minutes, my fingers and toes and face were completely numb from the wind. It was that cold. But anyway, that's the volcano story, and I'm so happy that I found a toilet. You can tell the next story while I sip my water.
We went to Glacier last year. We had a great time, but once again, it's like it was an hour and a half from the hotel up to the top, up to the lookout place and stuff. Yeah, so, I mean, you're ways away from civilization for the most part. There's the one, like, visitor center that does have some, I still don't know if they were toilets, but it definitely wasn't super clean because it had snowed, I think, a day or two beforehand, and there was still some residual snow down around, so...
Sludge.
So, like, the floors were just horrible. I mean, it's just wet, muddy boot all over the place. It wasn't good. So, Hailey wasn't a fan of that one. So we decided to go kind of down past the visitor center and go to another one. And we did find another of the kind of like outhouse style where it's, kind of like a decent bathroom built on top of a pit.
Yes. Yeah. And at that point, I was like, you know what? If I don't go now, things are going to get real bad for me. And I'm going to have to make some choices that I don't want to make. So there were 2 toilets. So I sent Sean out to scout them. And there were a lot of people that were kind of stopping and using the bathroom there. So that makes me a little nervous too. Anyway, you went and scouted and you were like, here's what it looks like. This is,
Yeah, it was a lot better than the visitor center.
And there wasn't a sink in that one either. It was just like...
No.
Toilet hole.
Yep.
That's it. That's all you got. I was able to have my little toilet to go things, which I did link, I think, in the previous episode. Those things are so helpful, and they do make me feel a little bit safer because they do have the little toilet seat cover and all of the wipes and stuff. A lot of really useful things. And that bathroom, it wasn't that bad. It was still the creepy hole in the ground, with all of the sort of floating toilet paper and all of that stuff. And again, I check it because I don't want to see no snakes in there. I don't want to see something looking at me. So checked it. It seemed fine. It wasn't too bad. I was very happy that I used it because it would have been a long, long time before we got back to that particular toilet. And then I was able to enjoy the rest of the drive down wherever they had it closed, the park. Yeah. Then I was able to frolic on the little beach and look at rocks and squat down and take videos and do all of these things that I would have been very uncomfortable doing had I not used the bathroom.
Yeah.
So, A++, thank you for checking it out.
And then Olympic National Park, kind of a similar deal. You're kind of a ways away from any type of civilization.
Oh, that one was, Yeah,
that one was a little bit more sketchy and definitely had a breeze in that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so we drove out to like a parking area and then we did a hike along this river. And it was quite lovely. But I was like, I need to go at some point here. But the toilets that were around that area were all like out of service, essentially.
Yeah.
And it was just like
a little disconcerting.
A sludgy mess. You went and checked it. That's what you told me. I remember because I pictured it in my head.
Yeah. I think like 3 out of the 4 were out of service. So there was just one left and it was a mess.
Yeah. Hailey wasn't doing that. So Hailey decided to wait. Well, we get closer to where we kind of came into the park-ish. I mean, it was still a drive.
Yeah, we were off the dirt roads, I think.
Yeah, but there was still, like, nothing around. And then there was a parking lot with these 2 toilets. And they were still the ones with the holes in the ground. We get to this parking lot, and there's some people just hanging out in the parking lot. These were youths in a car, and I don't trust it. They were blasting music, which I'm also not a fan of.
Yeah.
And they were just sitting there. And I'm like, these are youths in a car blasting music. I don't trust them. They're up to something. Why else would they just be sitting here? Either they've done something to the toilet. They've done something in the toilet. I don't know what's happening. Don't trust it. Sean, go check. Let me know what's happening. So he does. He goes. And the other thing about this situation, again, I'm wearing leggings under hiking pants because it's chilly. And that takes some time to deal with and maneuver with, you guys. If compression leggings are even harder to deal with because they're compression leggings. They're tighter than normal leggings. It's a pain. Anyway, so Sean goes to check it out, comes back. I see the picture. I decide it's okay-ish, right? I didn't really have a lot of choices. But that one wasn't too bad. Again, no sink, just a hole in the ground with the toilet bucket thing on top. But I did have wipes. And I took extra wipes with me, and I wiped everything down because that's what I do. And I was able to take care of business. But there was definitely a breeze, and it was real freaky, and it made it hard to like just do the business. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was very distracting because I just felt like it felt too exposed. But everything turned out okay. And then I went out to the car and I went to wipe my hands, and then some dog jumped in the car. So these youths had a big old dog with them, and the dog just jumped in the car. He just jumped in our car, and I was just like, oh my God, where did you come from? He was very sweet. He had one of those big old like pit bull heads. Super sweet dog. He was just looking for food, but that was unexpected. And then the youths ended up being not that bad, so they did apologize. They came and got their dog. They were cool. I think they were just smoking pot out there, and that obviously I'm okay with. All right, just tell me you're not up to something. Just tell me you're smoking pot out there. I'd be like, okay, cool. Like that's great. Good for you.
Yeah.
You shouldn't drive while you're high. But
true.
I mean, I'll still judge you for driving while you're high, but I'm fine with you smoking. Anyway, that was neither here nor there. I get off the topic really, really quite easily. Oh, and then the next one was Tillamook. We drove to the beach. Tillamook, that's where the cheese comes from, and look at ice cream and stuff. So there's the cheese factory out there, and we were going to have lunch there. Oh my God, way too many people. I mean, this is like early on in the pandemic. There were people lined up for, I don't know how. It was way too many people. I'm like, we're not doing this. We came to the beach to be away from people, and this is way too many people. This is not okay. So we drove into town there, and Sean stopped to get some food for us that we could take with us because we were hungry and we wanted lunch since we didn't get to stop and have it at the...
Didn't get some fried cheese curds or their mac and cheese.
Their grilled cheese sandwich.
Grilled cheese, yeah. A lot of good cheese-based.
Yes. Any kind of dairy-based situation. So anyway, he came back and told me, oh, there's a toilet at this sort of food cart pavilion.
Yeah, one of the things out here is we got a lot more food carts and stuff, like especially in Portland. I guess Oregon in general now, they have these food court pods, or food truck pods, which they'll have some places for the food trucks, then they'll have
picnic
tables, and in this case, a very nice restroom.
It was very clean.
Yeah.
He brought me back a photo, and I was like, woohoo, because I had to go. And I was worried about being around other people because it was very early on again. And I was just really nervous because we had been inside for at least a couple months at that point. And my mental state was not good. So I was so excited to have a decent restroom. And there wasn't that many people there, so I could just, take my time, get all my business handled. and then make my way back to the car. And I was so glad I did because then I was able to enjoy my beach time. And, that was helpful. Stop. Break time.
And we're back.
No one told me specifically not to mention their name, so
Okay.
I will be mentioning first names, FYI. The first one is from Elizabeth, and she went with her family to this tourist trap gold mining town in Arizona. All right, and she had to pee. So she waited in line for the single person bathroom, and inside the bathroom were two toilets next to each other.
What?
There was one of those toilet like trash can things in between them. She sent a photo. And then there was a sign that said to watch out for rattlesnakes.
What?
Yeah, so not only is this bathroom like weird because there are two toilets next to each other, there's also a friggin' sign to look out for rattlesnakes.
Oh, jeez.
So, that's one of them quick restroom situations.
Yeah, there's a lot of bad scenarios there, like having to run out with your pants not on, and oh man, nope.
We also had Kathy write in that said the scariest public restroom she went in was in the desert, and there was a sign saying that snakes like cool dark places like the restroom. So she said she didn't see anything, but it was like the quickest pee of her life. She was in, she was out. That was it. Then we have one from Jennifer, and she says her embarrassing story happened a few years ago when her son suddenly yelled out in a restroom, "Ooh, mama, that lady just farted. Doesn't she know she should only poop at home?"
Yeah.
So, yeah, she was like, he was speaking the truth, but I was very embarrassed. So I enjoyed that one as well. Our next story is from Summer, and she was road tripping with her dogs and doesn't even remember where they were, but she stopped and there were 2 pit toilets. And so she pushed open the door to one that was marked women, by the way, and there was an old dude with his pants around his ankles, leaning against the wall with his forearms so he didn't touch anything with his hands, not even his wiener, and he was peeing.
Jeez.
She said there was nowhere to wash your hands, so she assumed that's why he was leaning against the wall in this way, so he wouldn't get his hands dirty. But she said his wife was right outside.
What?
And didn't even bother to tell her that someone was in that bathroom.
Oh my gosh.
And
Come
I
on
thought
now.
that was like weird.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
really weird. So I would have been freaked out. And then we have Michelle, aka Norm. Hi, Norman. And she says that she stopped at a rest stop and there was this huge sign that said to watch out for snakes. This was a common theme. It's like,
geez.
watch out for snakes, watch out for things. So she said the restroom was really dirty, but she had already held it like so long and she was in pain. So she sat down on the toilet and this huge spider fell from the ceiling and landed on her thigh.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So she screamed and jumped up, and then pee got all down her leg.
No.
And she just had no choice but to like get the spider away. So. And I told her, like, you laugh at me about being so anxious and like worried about all this stuff and preparing for all this stuff. Things like this happen. Like, I'm not making it up. I'm not being crazy. This shit happens. It goes down on a regular basis. I'm not being nutso.
After that story, Haley's now going to have to like bring an umbrella with her.
Oh, I will be looking everywhere. I will be up, down, all around, constantly around me. What's happening? Is something coming from the ceiling? Who's there? Where are they at? What's going on? Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, I kind of do that anyway. And I felt like lately, every time I use the bathroom at home, like as soon as I sit down, some spider comes out from somewhere. They freaking love to get in the house
it's
now
spider
because it's
season.
hot out. And I feel like they're always trying to attack me as soon as I sit on the toilet. And it really fucks with my head.
Yeah, they didn't like seal up our crawl space right, so they seem to be able to get in through like any crack anywhere. Not cool. Spiders.
Okay, we also have 2 from Nathan, aka Nigel, for those of you who follow me on Instagram and have heard about Nigel and seen his cute little face. So he said one time he walked into this men's room at this bar that he was at, and there was a guy holding a girl over a urinal while she was peeing.
Oh, jeez.
And that she got piss all over his arm somehow.
Oh my god.
But she didn't want to wait in line for the girls' restroom. And so this dude was just holding her over a urinal.
Oh my gosh. That's
Yeah.
love, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't know what that is, but I wouldn't call it love. That is not. That's something. The other Nigel story, he was in Vegas with his friend Jeffrey. Well, our friend Jeffrey. We know Jeffrey. And Jeffrey went to the bathroom. This was at the Flamingo. And he made out with 2 guys in the bathroom. And as he's leaving, he sees this rug on the ground with the Flamingo logo. Now, Jeffrey has this cool like shed in his backyard.
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
also like a kind of like a bar, and he calls it the Flamingo, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, like that's the thing. So Jeffrey asked the attendant in the bathroom if there were cameras by the entrance, and the attendant said no. So Jeffrey gave the guy $20, rolled up this bathroom carpet,
Oh, jeez.
and shoved it under his Halloween Caesar costume and took the rug home with it. It's at his house now, in his Flamingo bar.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, we've seen it.
Oh, it's so crazy.
Yeah, I didn't know that he also made out with guys in the bathroom. So, and actually, that kind of comes into the voicemail, kind of on the
Okay.
same topic. So Nigel sent in a couple more stories, and I am not surprised that he has more bathroom stories than most people. He sent in another one, and he was working at this pizza place that he worked at for a while. There was an old man that came in and filled his plate with pizza. It's like a pizza buffet place.
Oh, yeah.
Filled his plate with pizza, ate a few bites, he disappeared. Turns out he was in the restroom for like 10 minutes, comes out, announces that he ate too many hamburgers that morning and clogged the toilet. So an employee had to go and unclog the toilet. So the guy, he goes back to his table, finishes his pizza, has seconds, has dessert, has coffee, disappears again, goes back to the bathroom, gone for 10 minutes again, comes out, announces again he clogged the toilet. And the same employee had to go unclog it. Yeah.
I mean, you can, like, courtesy flush. I mean, you don't have to just save it all up. You're
I
making a deposit.
I recommend courtesy flushing. I mean, as soon as things come out, flush. If something else comes out, flush again.
Well, maybe it's big on water conservation and stuff, but I mean, still.
Look, there are
come on.
some times where you can't conserve. You gotta think about the people around you and not just the planet. Sometimes, there are other priorities, okay? So then Nigel also said when he was in Paris, he's a gallivanter too, y'all. When he was in Paris, they were walking down by the Seine River, and there was just a human shit in the middle of the sidewalk. Yeah, he said he took pictures to prove it too, but I don't need to see.
Yeah. That's good he didn't
Just
send pictures.
A friggin' human shit. And how disturbing it is to come across a human shit where a human shit should not be.
Yeah.
So,
And then, like, I'm assuming there wasn't, like, toilet paper next to it or any sort of paper. I mean...
yeah, no, then you just have a butt of poo that you're grinding around in your pants.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Next we have, she's like, I'm your number one fan. I freaking love you guys. Thank you, Erin. We love you too. And so she has a best and worst story. So she said her daughter opened up a door of a family bathroom, like the big one, while she was peeing.
Jeez.
Yeah, she had nowhere to go. The same daughter, she said, who was 3 at the time, took rapid-fire iPhone photos of her sister on the toilet at a Starbucks restroom. So she says, we have 30 photos of each movement my sister was taking to get off the pot and get the damn phone from the kid. The next one is her aunt was in a public restroom at a restaurant, and her young son opened the door, I guess, and there was a mirror somehow situated exactly in the right spot where her aunt made eye contact with a man who was eating in the restaurant. Like they saw each other in the mirror while she was on the toilet.
Oh, no.
So Erin says her basic rule is just avoid public restrooms if you have kids. Thank you, Erin. Now next we have one from Leah, and this one's pretty funny too. So she said she's from Canada, so she wasn't sure if we all remembered the Huggies pull-ups commercials. She took her friend to an appointment at the hospital, and her friend went to the bathroom, and so Leah was waiting for her. So her friend is like a jokester, and she was talking and stuff. She's finishing up her business, and she comes out of the stall, and she loudly sings, "Mommy, wow, I'm a big kid now." And what she didn't realize was that they weren't alone in the restroom anymore. That there was an elderly lady that was just coming into the stall next to the friend and thought the friend was like completely nuts. And she said her friend turned so red, and it was like the hardest she's ever laughed in her entire life. Oh, man. Next up, we have Jessica, who was riding mopeds and figured out she really had to pee. So she found a park with the permanent structure porta potties to go potty, but she was wearing a jumpsuit, and there was nothing that she could do to keep the jumpsuit from touching the nasty floor. So she just had to accept that she had to somehow get out of this jumpsuit to be able to use the restroom. And that's why I don't wear jumpsuits. I don't even want to try on a jumpsuit because I don't want to like it, because I don't want to wear it, because I know that something like that may happen. So don't wear jumpsuits. I want to make sure I don't forget anybody. We also have Michelle. Michelle was in Australia, and they were driving.
The bathroom down under.
Yes, bathroom down under. They were driving through the outback, and rest stops were super far apart. You know, there was like nothing. She really needed to use the bathroom, but she doesn't like bugs or spiders or anything. So,
Don't go to Australia.
Yeah, right? So she said she got to this bathroom, and there were 3 stalls. So she opened up the first one. It was filled with moths.
What?
Moths everywhere. She was like, nope, not gonna do this one.
That's bizarre.
She went to the second stall.
This is like...
Yeah, this is
Goldilocks.
Like, yes, exactly. She got to the second stall. There was a massive spider the size of her hand in there.
Oh my god. Yeah, they got big ones there.
Yeah. So she goes to the last stall, and there's a daddy long-legged spider.
Okay, yeah.
So she's like, all right, I've dealt with that before. I'm just going to capture it and flush it. But she said the spiders in Australia must be on speed because she couldn't catch it. It was super fast. So finally she gave up and she went back to the moth stall and used that one, but was freaking out the whole time. And so she said when she came out to wash her hands, she saw that someone was using the stall with the massive spider in it. Oh my
god, no.
Yeah.
Oh jeez, wow.
I was like, I don't think I would have handled it that well. I think I would have had to figure something else out.
Oh, that's wow.
Yeah, not okay. We have one more, and it's a voicemail, and it's from my friend Brandon. So I also want to give him a shout out. Brandon Mullis Music. You can look him up on Facebook.
Yep, good
He's
stuff.
a great musician. He has a new song coming out, or it's already out by the time this comes out. So yeah, check him out. He's awesome. I've known him since I was 12. He's a great guy and super talented, so check him out. But he left us a voicemail and for his bathroom story, and here we go.
All right, so when I first started playing regular gigs in pubs and restaurants and things, I played at a place in Roanoke, Virginia called Awful Arthur's Seafood. This was maybe like 3 years ago or so. I had just got my gear set up, and I went into the restroom to change into like a button-up shirt that I brought and put my bandana on and like make my hair manageable. And there was like one person washing his hands, and there was like one person in the stall. And I was going to wait on that to go into there and change into the shirt because I didn't want people walking in if I'm like shirtless or whatever. So, and not to be nasty, but I mean, there was no smell or anything. So I was like, okay, just a couple of minutes or whatever, this dude will be out and I'll be in there, be on my way, set up and start playing. So I'm waiting and nobody comes out. I'm waiting and he still doesn't come out. I know he's in there because I've heard like a human being shuffling around in there. So I'm just waiting. I've probably been waiting like 2 or 3 minutes at this point. Finally, the stall door opens and 2 dudes walk past me straight out the restroom, don't make any eye contact, and they're on their way, and I'm just like, oh, okay, that explains it. So then I had to go in there, quickly change into my shirt without touching anything because, I'm worried there might be like errant skeet about. But anyway, I get my shirt on, I get changed, I go out of the stall to put my headband on and get everything situated, and go out and play the gig. And never did see those dudes again. I think they were just embarrassed and left. And it's still one of my favorite stories to tell today because it was like, all right, welcome to the road. This is what it's going to be like. Interesting shit happening. And you just have no way of predicting, no control over it. Just watch and remember the stories for later because you may need them for your friend's podcast.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's good.
Thank you, Brandon. That was a great story. We definitely appreciate it. So I have a few thoughts. My first one is, I think it's so cute that Brandon didn't want to mention poop smells after everything that we've talked about, and I know he's heard the previous thing. He's like, not to be nasty, but nothing smelled. Oh, that's so cute that you're trying not to be nasty, yet you said the word skeet.
Yeah.
So I thought that was very cute. The other thing is, we hang out with a lot of gay guys, and I don't think any of them have been embarrassed about having sex with someone in a bathroom stall.
It seems like it's kind of a rite of passage.
Yeah, yeah. But the other thing is, these two guys, I think, should be ashamed because they had sex in the bathroom stall of a place called Awful Arthur's Seafood.
Yeah.
It wasn't a bar called Holes where you expect someone to have sex in the bathroom. You just assume that that's what's going to happen in the bathroom at Holes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But this was a seafood joint. And I just find that really interesting.
All them prawns got them in the mood.
Prawns are great. I do love me some prawns. I don't think they've really given me the urge to explore the bathroom with someone, but thank you, Brandon. We appreciate that. Thank you so much. I hope that you have more stories from the road for future podcasts because that was awesome. Yeah. So thanks everybody for your stories. I am just so happy and thrilled that you send them in. Yeah, and I look forward to many more stories from you guys.
For sure.
Sean, do you have anything to plug?
Well, I mean, everybody can always go visit HaileyHatesEverything.com for all kinds of additional details, posts, and other information.
Yeah, and we did put some pictures from flying first class up in the sky for the Iceland story that we talked about in the last episode. We added some pictures from the lounge and up in the air. So that was cool. You can look at those, and I may post them on Instagram, may not. So if you want to see them for sure, go to the website. Also, you can email us at HaileyHatesEverything@gmail.com if you have any kind of hates, stories, whatever. If you don't want me to see them, you can email Sean at hatemail@HaileyHatesEverything.com.
Yes, indeed.
You can leave us a voicemail. The link that I have provided is through Anchor, and I found out today that it only has a minute limit.
Seems crazy.
Yeah, I know. I was very kind of disappointed in that. So if you want to leave a short voicemail, you can do so with the link, but you are more than welcome to record a voice message. That was Dobby. Record a voice message and email it to us. That's what Brandon did. So you guys can do that. You can follow us on Instagram, Hailey_hates_everything for the podcast. Divine Mrs. Diva for me. The Shonald for Sean. You can check out my blog, which is about my personal style, plus size fashion, beauty products, travel, yada, yada, yada. That is divinemrsdiva.com. And I will be doing a live segment with our local news on Friday, the 25th. So if you want to check that out, look me up and you'll be able to see that. I am going to talk about my summer must-have, summer favorites as it pertains to apparel and beauty. That's the plan right now. It might change, but
cool.
Anyway, love for you to check it out if you're interested. And we will see you next week for the to-be-announced topic that Sean will choose. So
indeed.
Again, thanks everybody for all of your stories and all of the fun. We so appreciate it, and we look forward to hanging out with you again.
Indeed. Thanks, everybody.